Chaplain Arthur Aguilar.
And his lovely bride?
Leanne Aguilar.
Awesome. How many years have you all been married?
Almost 21.
But now you have a partner that you should develop that same level of trust and confidence in, and that takes work. And part of that work is I'm going to work through this with you, right?
Yeah.
Not going to work through it with mom, not going to work through it with dad. I'm going to work through it with you.
Yeah.
So that and I think you mentioned somebody that believes in God. I think especially important for anybody that's going to be in a committed long-term relationship, it's important that those values align. That what do they value? What's important to them? And maybe this is kind of more the dad in me, right? I tried to think, what would I say to my daughter or my son? And I'm thinking along the lines of, I think it's important that you marry somebody that's hardworking too.
Well, I have all that. What do you bring to the table? And young women say, well, I am the table, meaning they have nothing else to offer. What would you say to young women about their contributions that a woman needs to bring to a marriage?
I think you need to value yourself enough to care what you're putting into it.
They're like, I'm me, I'm pretty.
Yeah.
I got hair, I got nails.
It doesn't last forever. Sorry. Being pretty isn't a forever thing. I mean,
I find you pretty.
Well, I know you do. Thank you. I just mean, I think when you're 80 years old, it's not going to still be there. And to be honest, I mean, in some ways, it's a very shallow thing. I want my
can say, but I also want my son to, right?
Yeah.
I don't want him to only value himself for his job and for the quote unquote amount of money he brings into the house, because what happens if you get into a car accident and you're crippled and now you're on disability and you're a man? Well, what God still created you. Your value is greater than just that alone.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think the way you said that is really important, because there's so much more, right? A father should be so much more than just the paycheck he brings home, right?
Oh, yeah.
And a mother should be so much more than just the beautiful picture that, she had.
How do you avoid divorce? Some people, the smallest little argument turns into, I want a divorce, or I'm going back to my parents' house. Yeah. How do you avoid that?
I think we just took it off the table for the most part.
We called it the D word whenever we first got married. Like the other expletives, right? The F word, the S word, we called it the D word. And
do that before it was pure stubbornness on my part, as I was not going to prove everybody who said we were going to get divorced right. and I think that in some ways there was points where that was 100% true. Yeah. Like the only reason I stayed was because it would just make them right, and that infuriated me. And effort, and every day waking up saying I'm going to forgive them. And
how did you agree on raising children?
Should I share our first argument?
Sure.
Our very first argument, we were 19 and 18 years old. Yeah, we were 19 and 18 years old. I don't even know how long we've been married. Maybe like a month,
probably,
if that. We're in this tiny apartment. Is that we raise children to know God, and to have every opportunity to have a relationship with Him.
Yeah. And normally, I wouldn't say we argue. I mean, we try to discuss things when we're not in the heat of a moment, because that is not a productive time to have a conversation.
When he uses the word argue, like, I think, I don't want you to have to choose not to tell me something that's bugging you.
Be mad and then bring up 30 things. Which, okay, I do that. So I have been in a bad habit. I don't do it so much now, but I used to do it really bad. Yeah. And this was a conversation we had, I would be in a bad mood, I'd be mad about X, and then I would bring up 10 other things I was also mad about. Well, you can't have a productive conversation when you're mad about 30 things. It just doesn't happen. Because you can't solve all the problems at one time. I want to talk about this. I don't want to. It's not a big deal. It's just a conversation. Like, I want to have your opinion, and we want to come up with whatever we're gonna do. And I think knowing when is appropriate and when it's not. You know, obviously, if it's a big deal thing, you've got to bring it up when you got to bring it up. But all the little stuff, I think just knowing when is the appropriate time definitely saves a lot of blow-ups over things that are not. Are they important? Yes, but are they major? No.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think that sometimes you got to hash it out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And you
asking-
don't feel like it's a win-lose situation. There's not a winner or a loser. It's just about how can we make it work together.
For one common cause, unified goal.
Yeah, and I was trying not to give you like a marriage and family therapy answer, but I think we've touched on two very important things, and that's one, explain, don't complain.
Yeah.
Right. And two, that is allow yourself to be influenced by your partner.
Yeah.
Right. What you think matters.
Yeah.
The way you think about it is important, and it's okay for me to hear that and to don't hold me to this, but to change my mind too.
I will hold it to you.
Yeah.